ऑक्सफोर्ड का नाम सुनते ही दिमाग में आती है यूनिवर्सिटीज, स्कॉलर्स और पीसफुल सी स्ट्रीट्स। लेकिन इसी शहर के अंदर छुपी है एक ऐसी जगह जहां साइलेंस भी शोर मचाती है। वो कोई ऑर्डिनरी टूरिस्ट स्पॉट नहीं, वो है एक 1000 साल पुराना कासल जिसके हर पत्थर एक कहानी छुपाए बैठा है। वेलकम टू द ऑक्सफोर्ड कासल एंड प्रिजन, जहां हिस्ट्री, मिस्ट्री और हॉरर एक साथ सांस लेती हैं। यहाँ सिर्फ प्रिजनर्स को बंद नहीं करा गया, कई कहानियों को भी बंद करा गया है। अंग्रेजी में कहते हैं द डीपर यू गो द डार्कर इट गेट्स। ऐसी ही जगह जो कितने ही राज छुपाए बैठी है। आओ मेरे साथ में मिलके इसे एक्सप्लोर करते हैं और इसके बारे में जानते हैं।
Now, Oxenford had a bit of a Viking problem. They kept getting invaded. So they decided it would be a good idea to build a large stone wall around this town to defend it. Now, in this wall, they placed 4 stone gates like compass points. A north gate, south gate, east gate, and a west gate, where we are now. Now, each gate had a stone tower to help with its defence. And this here is our west gate tower, also known as St. George's Tower. And it was built in 1009, so it's more than 1,000 years old. And it was very good at keeping out invaders until 1066, when the country would face a very different kind of invasion. Yes, William the Conqueror, William, Duke of Normandy, would come over, defeat King Harold at the Battle of Hastings, and be crowned King of England. So welcome into Matilda's room. So Matilda is the granddaughter of William the Conqueror and the daughter of King Henry I. Now when she's 12 years old, Matilda is married to the Holy Roman Emperor, making her Empress Matilda. And they have a fairly happy marriage by medieval standards, until he dies, leaving her with no children. So at the age of 26, Matilda is remarried to Geoffrey of Anjou, a 13-year-old French noble. And they have a much less happy marriage, but they do have 3 children together, so she's very lucky. Now, an important fact to note about Matilda, all of her brothers are dead. This means she is the only living heir to King Henry I, and is therefore in line to become England's first queen. However, very shortly after the birth of her second child, she receives word that her father has died and returns to England to take up her crown. Only when she does, she finds her cousin Stephen has named himself king in her absence. This leads to a 14-year war known as the Anarchy, and about 4 years into this war, Matilda finds herself staying here in this room. Now the story goes that one winter, as the crops were freezing over and the food was running low, Matilda came under siege from King Stephen's men. So her and 3 of her most loyal knights decided to wrap themselves in white cloaks on one quiet night, tie her bedsheets together, and escape out of this window to the castle grounds below us. When they reached the floor, they proceeded to walk backwards through the snow, so their footsteps would appear to be leading towards the tower as opposed to away from it. Then, when they reached the frozen River Thames, they put on ice skates made out of horse bones and skate 7 miles down the river to Abingdon. Here, they steal horses and escape to Wallingford Castle. Century, our prisons are privately owned and run for profit. So this prison is actually owned by Christ Church College of Oxford University. Don't ask me why a college is owning a prison, that's a different ethical question. But during this time, if you're a rich prisoner, you can afford yourself many luxuries within the prison. A comfortable bed, fashionable clothing, food that provides some level of sustenance. You can also get a bit of privacy and pay for a cell of your own. Now, if you're poor and can't afford any of these things, you're put into common cells. Very overcrowded and very unsanitary. Now, the richest prisoner we've ever had staying with us is this beautiful lady on the wall. This is Mary Blandy. Mary is the daughter of Francis Blandy, the town clerk for Henley-upon-Thames. She's quite a wealthy and well-known woman within the area, but she has a problem. Mary is nearly 30 years old and unmarried. Shock horror, I know. So her father decides the only way to get rid of her is to advertise her with a dowry of £10,000, close to 2.6 million in modern money. So obviously it attracts quite a few suitors, one of whom is this gentleman here, William Cranston. William is an officer in the British Army from Scotland who begins to court Mary, and the two quickly become engaged. But Mary's father, Francis, isn't very happy about this, seeing as, well, William has a wife and 2 children back in Scotland, but, he's not going to let a little thing like that stop him falling in love, is he? So even though he's banned from marrying Mary and kicked out of the house, he continues to exchange letters with her. And in one letter, he sends to her a small vial of white powder he calls his love potion. A love potion designed to make her father fall in love with the idea of William marrying her. It doesn't actually make any sense if you think about it for longer than a second, but off she goes, sprinkling this powder in her father's food every day. And strangely, her father reports feeling quite ill soon after this. Then his teeth fall out, his hair comes out in clumps, his skin turns a strange grey shade, and he gets very skinny. And suddenly, Frances Blandy is found dead. Now sadly, all the luxuries she found within the prison didn't help Mary, and after 6 months they find her guilty for the murder of her father and sentence her to be hanged. Now in one last attempt to maintain some of her dignity, she bribes the executioner in order to not be hanged 9 feet in the air, as was the custom, but simply just a foot above the ground, so no peeping Toms would get a chance to look up her skirt. Sadly, when she's cut down from the gallows, a strong gust of wind blows her skirts up high, and everyone sees everything. Now, some say, if you're unlucky, you can see the ghost of Mary Blandy wandering these halls, a handkerchief draped over her face to hide her shame.
यहाँ के लोगों का मानना है कि एक वॉचमैन था यहाँ का और उसका डेली का आना जाना यहाँ रहता था, तो उसने अपने 40 साल यहाँ पे बिता दिए थे और 40 साल बाद जब उसकी मृत्यु हुई, जब वो मरा तो वह यहीं मरा था, इसके अंदर ही, कासल के अंदर ही। तो कहते हैं लोग कि उसकी आत्मा आज भी दिखी जाती है, आज भी उसको महसूस करा जाता है, और लोगों ने कहीं एक ऐसा साया भी देखा है जो कुछ कहता नहीं है, सिर्फ चुप रहता है, लेकिन वो सिर्फ चलता रहता है, यहाँ से गुज़रता रहता है इसी जगह से। और उसके साथ कहते हैं कि एक चाबियों का गुच्छा भी है जो साथ में लगा होता है, लेकिन वो कुछ कहता नहीं है, उसकी आंखें जो हैं वो सिर्फ कुछ बोलती हैं। Can you hear that? Can you hear that? माना कि यहाँ लोग हैं, लेकिन ऐसे भी नहीं। ये जगह बहुत स्केरी है। और ऐसे ही वो दस्तक देता था और देखता था कि कोई है कि नहीं, और ये एक ज़रिया रहता था, यहाँ से वो देखते थे कि कोई प्रिजनर अंदर है कि नहीं। बहुत स्केरी चीज़ें हैं यार यहाँ पे, बहुत ज़्यादा। गॉड डैम इट।
ये था सफ़र ऑक्सफोर्ड कासल का। होप तुम लोगों को मज़ा आया होगा। और यहाँ की दीवारें जिन्होंने सदियों का अंधेरा झेला है, तुम लोगों ने देखा है किस तरीके से यहाँ के प्रिजनर्स की लाइफ रही, किस तरीके से वो मैंडी आज भी अपना इंसाफ मांग रही है। ये ऑक्सफोर्ड कासल एक कासल नहीं है, यहाँ आते ही वक्त थम सा जाता है और कई कहानियाँ जो आज भी चलती रहती हैं। तुम लोगों ने सुना, देखा और महसूस भी करा होगा। अगर तुम लोगों को लगता है कि ये सिर्फ कासल है तो ये सिर्फ कासल नहीं, इसे दोबारा सोचिए और एक बार फिर से इस हिस्ट्री के बारे में जानिए कि किस तरीके से इसकी हिस्ट्री रही होगी। मज़ा आया होगा तो तुम लोग इस वीडियो को लाइक करना, चैनल पे नए हो तो सब्सक्राइब करना और कमेंट सेक्शन में ज़रूर बताते हुए जाना अपनी राय। एंड आई विल सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो। तब तक के लिए बाय बाय।